minutes late. Am I on? Am I on? All right, we usually do start a minute or so late. Those stairs can be a little tough to get up, so we give a little extra time. We are going to start laying down on our backs today, so if you guys wanted to bring yourself to your backs and start to make yourself comfy, you're more than welcome to do so. For those of us who are joining us from home, greetings, and do the same. Find yourself nice and comfy on your back. And we'll just lay here for approximately 30 minutes of class. Just kidding. My name is Pixi, and I teach a slow flow yoga. So my yoga is going to be less calisthenics and more holding of poses, but I also encourage you to do whatever you want in this class. And so if I said hold and you didn't feel like holding, that's totally fine. Or if I said do this, but you wanted to do extra because you really like to do that extra yoga, then feel free to do that too. So your practice, your body, y'all's choice, you make those decisions. I'm just here to crack bad jokes, be a little bit awkward, and lead us through the practice. So let's take a moment, guys, to ground ourselves. This is a grounding technique that actually is pretty popular on my Instagrams these days. But let's do it together in the yoga practice to keep us here right now. So let's take a moment to listen to what's going on around us. You might be able to hear the sounds of my voice. Maybe you hear some electrical humming. Maybe if you're at home, you can hear the cars drive by. Maybe you can hear the pitter-patter of little puppy feet. Just acknowledge that all of that stuff has to go on around us. There's nothing that we can do about it, and we're just gonna let that go. Keep taking breaths in. Lengthen the length of breath. LOL, lengthen the length of breath. Big, deep inhales in and extra long exhales out. And then take a moment to sniff around. In between those big inhales and those big exhales, take a big sniff in and just identify what it is that you might smell. Maybe you didn't shower this morning, totally appropriate, not all of us did. Maybe you have last night's perfume on. Maybe there's some other scent inside of your nostril that I'm unaware of. Maybe if you're at home, you can smell your house. It needs to be cleaned, but just let it go. Acknowledge that the house might need to be cleaned, or we still have to take a shower, and just let it go. Lastly, let's take a feel into the body. Notice what it feels like today. Notice the temperature of the air outside. Notice the way an ache or a pain feels different or the same today. Like I said, just acknowledge that this is the way that our bodies are. There isn't much we can do about it except for keeping the practice going, and then just let it go. Anytime during this practice, if you feel your mind wandering and you have gone to the kitty litter, or have you thought about the things that you have to do later or tomorrow or on Monday or on Tuesday, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. Just acknowledge that we can't do anything about that right now. The intention here is the practice, and just let it go. And you'll have to do that again and again for the duration of this practice, as well as for the rest of our lives. So take a deep breath in. Let go of all the stress, and start to bring a little movement into your fingers, and a little movement into your toes, into your fingertips. Maybe turn that head to the left and to the right. And then when you're ready, reach those arms long overhead, toe tip to fingertip, like you just woke up from your Shavasana nap, but you didn't, because it's the beginning of practice. Draw the knees into the chest, ignoring any coffees that might be knocked over at this time. Pull the knees into the chest and give yourself a big ol' squeeze. If you want to curl and round into a little ball, feel free to do so. Or if you want to rock a little bit left and right, and see if you can get yourself a back massage. Excellent. We'll interlace over this right knee and extend the left leg long on the mat for wind removing. Maybe gently draw those toes back to your nose, pull that thigh into the belly, and then breathe real big so that you feel that belly against the thigh. If you want, you're more than welcome to take that knee into that right underarm. Maybe place the knee in the right hip crease. Oh, not a hip crease, elbow crease. And then draw that knee back to center, and then extend that right arm out to a T and cross that body in a big old twist. Readjust the shoulders, keep that flat on the mat, and then take some breaths here. Even though our belly is constricted in this moment, take some deep breaths. Long inhales in and even longer exhales out. Slowly unwind, bring that knee back into your chest. Bring the left knee into your chest, give yourself a big old squeeze, maybe a rock again to the left and to the right. See if you can get that back massage. And then we'll do the other side. We'll interlace over the left knee, extend that right leg long on the mat, and pull that left knee into the chest. Even if your belly and your thigh doesn't make contact, imagine that it is. Big belly breath in, long exhale out. Maybe taking that left knee into the left elbow crease and then pulling that closer to your underarm, getting a little bit more of a pelvis opener. I don't know how you would describe that. Let's keep thinking about it. Let's bring the left knee back into the chest. And then we will extend that left arm out at a T and then cross that body for a big old twist on the other side, maybe readjusting those shoulders and then settling in. Even though, again, your belly is constricted, take those big, giant breaths. Remember that it's more important to breathe than it is for that twist. Sometimes, depends. You make that decision. Slowly unwind, bring both those knees back into the chest. Give yourself one last squeeze. Find any final movements that you'd like before we transition to a seated position. If you'd like, maybe interlace behind the thighs and rock forwards and backwards, super weird, until you get to a seated position. If you're not interested in rocking, because that might be a little bit embarrassing, just find yourself in a seat. That's totally fine. All right, we're gonna settle into this position as well. So find yourself nice and comfy in your seat, move the cheeks out of the way, draw the shoulders down the back, and then before we close our eyes today, let's take a look around. We're just gonna look around. You can look at me, I won't look back, I promise this time. But just identify what's going on around you. The lighting, the people, the pixie, whatever it is, just acknowledge this stuff is happening, and then softly close your eyes and just let it all go. All of this stuff has to happen around us. Nothing we can do about it. Just exist here. All right, we're gonna start with some seated cat-cows. So if you need to move your bum again, feel free to do so. We'll take the hands on the knees and we'll start with some seated cat-cow. So inhale the chest forward, stick that belly out, lift the chin, draw the shoulders down the back, and then curl and round. Draw the forehead to the pelvis. Really make that C shape holding onto your knees. And then inhale your way back up. And then keep moving at the pace of your own breath. Inhale as you come up and exhale as you come down. And I encourage you to be as dramatic as possible in this cat-cow because that's the way that you're gonna feel the most out of this. If you're not interested in feeling the most, then don't worry about that. No big deal. Couple more breaths. If you feel like doing some belly rolls, feel free to do so. Maybe some twists in your seated cat-cows. You decide how to wake your spine up. All right. Bring yourself back to neutral. Wiggle the shoulders out. Find your nice seated position. Engage that core just gently. Draw the shoulders down the back. Sit up like another inch taller. And then we'll start with our shoulder rolls. So first we're gonna draw the shoulders up to our ears, open the chest, draw them down the back. And then we're gonna do that some more. So you can keep your hands on your knees, or you can lift your arms up. And again, the more exaggerational you get in this position, the more you feel, but you decide how your shoulders feel, whether you want big, giant shoulder rolls or not shoulder rolls. Little shoulder rolls. If you haven't already, let's go in the opposite direction. So let's go up the back, draw it to the ears, and then down the front. Excellent. You can feel your collarbones moving. You can feel the pressure between your shoulder blades. You can feel a lot in this crazy shoulder roll. All right, one more breath, one more roll, and then we're gonna do one at a time. Everybody roll the right one up, roll the left one up, do it a little bit faster, and that's what I call the shimmy shake. Thank you for shimmy shaking. All right, let's do a lean back and swippy swap those feet so that we don't walk in circles for the day. Readjust the bottom, find yourself nice and comfy, and we're gonna do our wrist rolls. So let's hold our wrist out, stopping in the name of love with 2 hands. Yes, good job. And then we're just gonna roll our wrists around in circles. You can do them 2 at a time. You can do them like figure eights. You can do them left or right or up or down. It doesn't really matter. But let's keep rolling those wrist arounds just for a second. And you're gonna start to notice that your arms are getting a little bit tired. So draw those shoulders down your back. Make sure that your wrists are directly in line with your arms. Keep moving them around for just 1 second. We're almost done. Yeah, it seems about right. All right, let's shake the hands out a little bit like this, and we'll take them down. All right, last but not least, we're gonna do our neck rolls. Everybody likes this, so enjoy. Let's draw the chin to the chest first, and then keep that belly engaged and draw the shoulders down the back. Next, we'll draw that right ear to the right shoulder, and then maybe lower that left shoulder just a little bit, creating a big space between my ear and my shoulder. Roll through the back, lift through the chin so that you don't collapse in the back of the neck. And then we're gonna roll to the left, maybe drop that right shoulder, and then keep rolling around in circles. Now you take your time or you go nuts. You get to decide if you need to spend a little bit of extra time in those crunchies back there. Feel free to do so. The more neck rolls you do, the less crunchies you have. It's a yoga fact that I definitely didn't make up. All right, don't forget about the breath. Long inhales in, extra long exhales out, and then while you're doing your neck rolls, focus on that body. So make sure that your belly is maybe a little engaged. Draw those shoulders down the back. Try to isolate the movement in your neck. Good work, y'all. 1 or 2 more times. If you haven't gone in the opposite direction, now would be a good time to go so. And then bring everything back to usual. Everything back to usual, whatever that means. All right, let's roll over the shins and find ourselves in an all fours position. All right, we're gonna stack ourselves for structure. So shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. This helps us maintain balance. And then engage that core, maybe draw the spine a little bit closer towards the ceiling, and then we're gonna work on our balancing poses today. So when you're ready, let's lift that left arm forward and up, and then find that balance on 2 knees and 1 hand. 3 limbs, 3 points of contact. If that feels great, maybe add the right leg. So now you're just pressing with your right hand and your left knee. And if you start to feel a little bit unbalanced, check your structure. Keep that core engaged, maybe draw that spine a little bit higher towards the ceiling, and then 3 times we're gonna take this elbow to the knee, and that's helping with balance, and it's helping with our core work. So inhale, come up like cat. Exhale, point the finger and the toe backwards. Another time, inhale or exhale. Let's not focus on that. Draw the finger and the toe out. 1 more time. Draw everything in, curl up like cat, and then exhale everything out. Now, find your steadiness again. You might be starting to feel this in the right shoulder and the left knee. If you want to stay here, you're more than welcome to. If you'd like to reach up and back for an upward bow type position, you're more than welcome to. If you try it and it doesn't work, that's fine. If you try it and you topple over, that's even funnier. It's totally okay. Slowly unwind, bring the finger out, bring the toe out, and then let everything down. Okay. Swish a little right and swish a little right. That was left. Swish a little right and left. Move those hands around, figure out what you need to do to reset, and then we'll do the other side. So again, remember to keep those shoulders over wrists, the hips over knees. That makes us structurally sound, and then we're gonna try the other side. Let's lift up the right hand.
What did you do?
Find the balance. Keep that core engaged. If you feel safe here, lift that left leg up and back. Excellent work. When you're ready, we're gonna draw the elbow to the knee, curl up like cat, and then exit everything out. All right, inhale in, and exhale out. Last time, one more in, last time out, and then find your steadiness again. If you'd like to reach up and back and you feel balanced, feel free to do so. Big arm stretch, big leg stretch. Keep that core engaged, you're doing a good job. And slowly release. Lower everything down. And then we're gonna take our bum to our heels to find a child's pose, just for a minute. Draw that forehead down, extend those arms out, and allow this time to help you catch your breath. We haven't done all the work yet, but sometimes being in new places and the stress of doing things that you haven't done before may be a little stressful, so just catch that breath. Remember, long inhales in and even longer exhales out. All right, when you're ready, press into the hands, drawing up to an all-fours position, curling those toes under, and then slowly moving that bum back into downward dog. And we're gonna walk the dog. Exactly, you're already doing it. You wiggle around and figure out what you wanna do to wake the body up here. Maybe bend into one knee, maybe bend into the other. Maybe come high up on those toes. Maybe even gaze underneath the underarms to get a side body twist. Side body stretch.
Did you have fun today?
Not quite the twist.
What did you do?
Once you feel complete in your wiggles, find yourself steady.
Alone most of the day.
Make it the most symmetrical
Why didn't you come home to me?
downward dog that you can imagine. Excellent choice. If you decide, because I've said downward dog, to be in child's pose, I support it. All right, let's come high up on our toes, and then we're gonna tiptoe all the way to the front of the mat to find our first forward fold. Let's keep the knees hip distance, bend the knees a lot of bit, bring the belly to the thighs, maybe take those pinkies and those elbow creases and allow yourself to just hang. If you have another type of forward fold you prefer, feel free to do that, but let's just let gravity do the work here. Press into the feet to come up about halfway, maybe with a flat back, straight legs, and then bend those knees, allow yourself to fold again. Let every vertebrae stretch, feel each gap. Let your face relax, let your eyeballs fall out. Nobody cares. All right, if you have any binds, slowly unwind, and then we're going to press deeply into the feet, and as slow as you can slowly roll yourself up, probably slower than you even think.
I miss you.
The very last thing to come up is going to be your head.
Yeah.
You can feel each vertebrae stacking on top of each other. Excellent. So slow, y'all. Once you find yourself at the top, fix everything that you want to fix, guys. Fix your hair, fix your Jones, fix your shirt, fix all the things, and then we'll find a nice tall mountain pose, and we'll do the same thing that we've done a couple of times already. We're going to stop and we're going to check in. You decide whether you want your feet hip distance for stability, or whether you're feeling pretty stable and you want a little balance today. That way, toes together, heels slightly apart. Press into the feet, feel slight engagement in your legs, tuck that tailbone, draw the belly in, shoulders down your back. I know so many things are going on right here. Softly close those eyes and use your senses to bring yourself into this moment. However that works for you. We'll get started today with one half moon twisty two and probably one sun salutation, but who really knows? When you're ready, let's inhale those arms out and overhead. And then we're gonna lower the right arm, lean over to the right side, Press into that right foot so that you don't collapse in that right side body, and then reach out with those left fingertips. Press into the right foot, lift the right arm back up to neutral, and exhale, lower the left arm, lean over to the left side. Press into that left foot so you don't collapse in that left side body, and then real long between your ankle and your fingertip. Left hand comes all the way back up, bend into the knees and forward fold. We're going to bend into the left knee, keep the left fingertips on the ground, and open up to the right side. Right arm comes to the ceiling. Notice what's happening in that right hip. If you want to do a half wrap, feel free to do so. Keep opening up to the right side. If you've moved the arm, bring it back to the ceiling and exhale everything down for the forward fold. We're going to bend into the right knee, keep those right fingertips on the ground, open up to the left side with the left arm. Notice that left hip. Maybe take that left hand behind the back for the half wrap. Keep opening up to the left side. Left arm comes back up. Good job, guys. Exhale, everything comes down. Bend into the knees and sunburst those arms out, up, and tall overhead. Arms go high, and then exhale everything down. Just one breath. Take a deep breath in and a long exhale out. The longer exhale is what's helping decrease your heart rate, so focus on that long breath. When you're ready, let's inhale everything out, up, and tall overhead, moving into sun south. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for the lift. And then exhale, step that right foot back. Find the runner's lunge. Pull the chest through. And then take that left foot back to meet the right for plank. Excellent. Lower yourself using your knees if you'd like. Inhale for the back bend. And then exhale, downward dog. Now you decide whether you'd like to find a little movement because your mind is busy today, or whether you'd like a little stillness because your mind is still. Take just a breath. And then we'll come high up on those toes, maybe high up on those right fingertips, and then bring that right foot forward for the runner's lunge. Good job. Excellent choices. Then bring the left foot to meet the right. Inhale for the lift. Exhale for the fold. And then sunburst those arms out, up, tall overhead. And then exhale everything down by the sides. All right. We're moving into our standing flow today, which will be crescent returns. When you're ready, inhale the arms out, up, and tall overhead. And exhale, fold. Inhale for the lift, and then exhale, step that right foot back, find the runner's lunge, and then we're gonna pull the chest through and set ourselves up for success. So we're transitioning from the runner's lunge to a high crescent, and so make sure that left foot is out enough to where your feet are not in a single line. When you're ready, press deeply into that left leg, and then press up into a high crescent. Long standing flow. Long inhales in, even longer exhales out. Feel what's happening in the front of that right hip. If your arms get tired, you may take them anywhere you want, but maybe the goalpost, maybe to the hips. Arms come up. And then exhale, forward fold, taking the hands to frame the front right foot. We're gonna take that left foot back, find the plank. Hold here for just 1 second, and then we're gonna go through a flow. So you're gonna lower yourself through chaturanga. Inhale for the back bend, and then exhale, downward dog. Find yourself in whatever downward dog you need, but we won't stay here for too long. Let's come high up on those toes, maybe high up on those left fingertips. Take the left foot forward to find the runner's lunge, and then again, we're gonna set ourselves up for success. Good help in that leg up. Inhale, press up into the high crescent. Excellent work. And then again, find your steadiness. Find the stretch in the front of the right hip. It's a good one. Move your arms if you need to. Just another breath. And then we'll exhale, forward fold. Again, take that left foot back for the plank, and then you decide whether you'd like to go through the flow or whether you want to meet us in downward dog. Y'all's choice. All right. Take a deep breath in and a long exhale out. All right. We're going to add a little bit more this time. Come high up on those toes. Bring that right foot forward. Find the runner's lunge. And then inhale those arms out and overhead for the high crescent. Excellent work. We'll stay here for just another breath, so you decide if you need to move your arms. Feel the stretch in the front of that right hip, left hip. All right, we're gonna come high up on those back toes, lean forward at a 45-degree angle, and then you're gonna press deeply into this right leg and drag that left foot into a balance. So if I'm balancing on one foot and my toe is down, I can feel myself wrap. I can feel myself balancing. If you wanna add a little bit more and move into a warrior 3, you're more than welcome to. Feel all those toes balancing in the front of the right foot. This does not have to look perfect, and if you topple over, just slowly get yourself back into the balance. Bend into that right knee and sweep the left knee forward and up with the hands. Excellent work. And then exhale everything down. Step a little left, step a little right, and then we're gonna do the other side. Let's inhale those arms out, up and tall overhead. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale for the lift. And then exhale, step the left foot back. Is that right? Yes? Is that right? We're doing the other side. Okay, so we're gonna do a jump switch. Are you ready? Jump and switch. Perfect. Excellent work. Okay, now we're gonna come up into a high crescent. Inhale those arms up and overhead. Arms rise. Find the steadiness. Find the breath. And then we're gonna come high up on those back toes. Lean forward at the 45-degree angle. Press into that left foot and lift up into the balance. You find whatever balance you need. Notice those muscles and those bones in the top of the foot. And then bend into the knee, the left knee, sweep the right knee forward, up with the arms. And then exhale everything down. All right, step a little left, step a little right, and we're gonna take a break in child's pose. So let's inhale those arms out, up and tall overhead, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale for the lift, and then exhale, step a foot back, step another foot back, find the plank, and then lower the knees, take the hips to the heels, and find yourself breaking in child's pose. You can move your hands if you need to.
I was very...
Feel that belly breath, big inhales in, and even longer exhales out. Feel that belly moving towards the thigh or dropping in between the thighs, even if they never touch. Focus on that breath and that exhale. Take a breath in, feel the ribs expand, and exhale, feel everything contract. Long inhales in and even longer exhales out.
You know what? I was very...
All right. Let's extend those arms out long, and then we're gonna press up into an all fours position again, but we're gonna transition through the all fours, curling the toes under, and then bringing the bum back for downward dog. And then again, you decide. If your mind is busy, maybe find some movement. If your mind is still, maybe find some stillness. Let's come high up on those toes, and then we're gonna tiptoe to the front of the mat, and we're gonna find our second forward fold, and you decide feet together, feet hip distance. If you have another type of fold that you'd like, feel free to do so, or maybe just allow gravity to do the work. Good choices. Good wiggles. When you're ready, let the hands hang or let go of any bind that you might have. Press deeply into the feet and then slowly roll yourself back up to standing. So slow. So slow. You didn't even know you could move that slow. When you get to the top, please feel free to fix your tones, your shirt, your hair, whatever needs to be fixed. And we'll go through a little bit more flow today. So standing at the top of your mat, let's inhale the arms out, up, and tall overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for the lift. And then exhale, step the right foot back, find the runner's lunge. You're gonna lower that right foot down to the ground and cartwheel those arms up for the warrior two. Excellent work. Facing in this direction. Perfect. Good transition. All right, remember this is a hip opener, so keep those hips open to the side of the mat. Keep that back foot parallel to the back edge of the mat. Left toes facing forward and left knee over top of that left ankle. We're gonna reverse the warrior. Turn that left palm up and take it up and back for reverse warrior. Keep that left knee over top of those left toes. And then bring it back to neutral. Straighten through that left leg, and then reach out over those left toes. Tick-tock those arms to 12 and 6. Take the left hand to the ankle, to the floor for triangle. Your hips are still facing the side edge of the mat. Gaze down towards the ground. Bend into the left knee. Come back to a warrior two-ish. Straighten into that left leg, turn the left toes towards the long edge of the mat. We're gonna take, our hips to our hands to our hips, draw the shoulders down the back, lift the chest, and we're gonna exhale, forward fold, wide leg forward fold. You can take your hands directly to the mat and allow yourself to let gravity pull you down. Maybe have those toes turned in just a little bit will help with creating more space in your lower back for the bend. If you want to lean a little left and lean a little right, or if you have some organic movement that you'd like to put in here, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, you can also just hang out. Excellent. All right, if you have moved your hands away from the ground, let's press into the hands to come up with a flat back. We're gonna take our hands to our hips and then inhale with a flat back all the way back to standing. All right, extend those arms out to a T, turn those right toes towards the back of the mat, and then find the warrior two on the opposite side. Excellent, good transition. And then again, focus on your posture. Left foot parallel to the short edge of the mat, hips opening up to the side of the mat, right knee over right toe, arms out to a T, shoulders down the back. Oh my gosh, so much in just this little pose. All right, let's reverse the warrior. Turn the right palm up and take it up and back for the reverse. Keep that right knee over that right toe. Big stretch. And then take everything back to a T. Let's straighten that right leg. Lean out over those right toes, and then tick-tock those arms to 12 and 6 for the triangle. Excellent work. Gaze down towards the right toes. Bend into the right knee, coming back to a warrior two-ish. Straighten that front right leg. Turn those right toes in again. And this time we're gonna take our hands behind our back. You have two choices here. You can either take the knuckles down to the ground, feel a big opening in the chest, or you can take your hands to the small of the back, squeeze those elbows together and find a big opening in the front of the shoulders. Either way, toes in, and then exhale, forward fold. You can take the hands off the bottom, raise them towards the ceiling, some other type of stretch. Whenever you're ready to let that S go, just do so. Let the hands roll down the back, find the floor again. Once your hands have found the floor, this time we're gonna walk our hands over to that right knee and take a bend in the knee. Feel a big old stretch in the left hip. Walk those hands back to center and then over to the left knee. Bend into the left knee. Find a big old stretch in the left leg. Right leg. My bad. All right. Bring everything back to neutral. We're going to take the hands to the ground, press up about halfway, and then we'll take our hands to our hips and then slowly rise back up to neutral. Excellent. Arms go back out to a T, turn the left toes towards the front of the mat, and then very yoga-like, we're gonna cartwheel those arms down to frame the front left foot. Take that left foot to meet the right, and then your choice, find a flow or meet us in downward dog. Find what you need from here. All right, we're gonna do some funny stuff real quick. We're gonna come high up on those toes, and then we're gonna tiptoe to the front of the mat, and then you're gonna cross your legs, and then you're just gonna take a seat, and then you're gonna extend the legs up for boat pose. It's a good transition. I've been working on that one for a while. Just kidding, I just made it up. All right, so find yourself in a little boat pose. We'll be here for, it's 10:08, so about 12 minutes. If you want to take your arms out, that might increase the stretch. If you want to take your fingers to your toes and try to extend up, that would be really fun. And then you can also take your legs apart. All right. We're gonna go all the way down from here. We're gonna work on some leg stuff today. So extend those fingers out in front of you. I prefer claw fingers, and then curl the right lip up for like an Elvis zombie look, and then just roll yourself down like this. And then find yourself flat for just a moment. We won't be here for long. Well, I guess we will be on our backs for long, but we're still gonna make some movements here. So just enjoy the support of the mat. Just enjoy the quiet moment. And then we'll continue on. Let's take the soles of the feet to the mat and then readjust so that your bottom and your lower back is on the mat. We're gonna take the right leg up towards the ceiling and just roll into that right ankle to start. So point and flex those right toes, roll them in a circle. Generally, just a wiggle. And then if you're ready, when you're ready, draw those right toes back to your nose, press that heel to the ceiling, and then you can take your hands behind your thigh, or maybe you want to walk them up towards your shin, and maybe draw your forehead to your shin. Maybe you just want to stay on your back. That's totally fine too. If your leg is shaking a little bit, mine is. Probably just means you need to do this more. It's fine. Our bodies will tell us what we need. All right, slowly lower the back down to the ground, and then we're gonna take this right ankle on top of the left knee for figure 4. Moving that right knee away from your body, even just energetically, will help with the stretch. If you're feeling a hip stretch here, totally cool, stay here. If you want a little bit more, maybe draw those knees into the chest and interlace behind the left thigh or in front of the left shin. Either way, let's make sure that that right knee is still moving away from the body. Energetically, not literally. I guess technically that is a little literally, but we won't talk about that right now. Remember as we slow down to keep yourself present in the moment. Do what you can to stay here right now, just me and you and like 20 of our yoga best friends forever. All right. Slowly unwind, let go of that. Take the left foot down towards the ground, and then take that right foot back up towards the ceiling. You're gonna bend into the right knee, and you're gonna grab the right big toe with your peace fingers. So my leg doesn't straighten. I got real tight hamstrings, so don't worry about that. You're gonna take your left arm out to a T, and then you're gonna open up that leg to the right side. Try to keep that left bottom on the ground. It's gonna wanna come up, everybody's does. But just open that right leg up as much or as little as you'd like. You don't have to go far, or you can go like real far if you want.
How do you feel about him?
Excellent.
I don't know.
Slowly bring that right leg back up to neutral. And then we're gonna swippy swap the hand. So you're gonna take the left peace fingers around the big toe. Again, it's totally okay if your leg is bent. We're gonna extend the right arm out at a T, and then extend that left leg long on the mat. So at first, we're just gonna take this right leg over to the left a little bit, and then you're gonna feel a big ol' stretch in that right hip. So you're not doing a twist yet, you're just gonna take it over to the left a little bit, but you can feel that big stretch in your right hip. If you'd like, feel free to now let that right leg go all the way over to the left for like a big old stretch, big old twister. And then bring everything back to neutral. Let go of the bind, let go of your fingers, keep that left foot raised towards the ceiling, maybe roll into the ankle, maybe point and flex one more time, and then you're gonna draw those right toes back to the nose, press that heel towards the ceiling, and then very slowly let that right leg go down towards the ground. Keeping that core engaged, very slowly take that right leg to the ground. Excellent work. Just notice the way that your right leg might feel a little bit different than your left leg. That's how you know you're doing it. Just kidding, just kidding. All right, let's take the soles of the feet back to the mat, readjust the bottom, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So let's take that left foot up towards the ceiling, roll into that ankle a whole bunch, point and flex. Roll left, roll right. And then when you're ready, draw those left toes back towards the nose. Press that heel towards the ceiling, and you can already feel that big stretch behind the thigh. If you'd like to interlace behind the thigh to draw that left leg closer, or maybe walk those hands up towards the ankle, bringing that forehead to the knee. You only have to go as far as you'd like. And if you've gone farther and you decide you want to back out, that's cool too. Slowly unwind, bring the torso down, keep that left heel raised towards the ceiling, and then you're going to take that left ankle, cross the right knee for figure four. And then just take a break, just decide. Is this okay for you? Would you like a little bit more? Maybe draw that right knee into the chest and interlace behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Just exist. It is completely normal for our minds to wander. It's literally what we've evolved to do. It keeps us safe and secure. That was the end of that sentence, even though it ended in an uprising. But we can't get mad because our mind wanders. It's literally what it's supposed to do. So the practice in yoga is not only the physical practice, but also to keep yourself present. Mindful movement. It's easier to do when we're moving than it is when we're still. So practice for the rest of your life. All right, slowly let that right foot down to the ground. Bring that left foot back up towards the ceiling, maybe roll into that ankle just a bit. And then we're gonna take that left peace fingers around the big left toe. That knee is bent, totally acceptable. Take that right arm out at a T. And then when you're ready, open that left leg out a little bit, or a medium bit, or even a lot of it. Try very hard to keep that right bum rooted into the ground. If the right bum raises, meh, it's okay. But if the energy of that right bottom is moving in towards the ground, that is the practice. When you're ready, slowly bring that left leg back to neutral, all the way up towards the ceiling, bending the knee as it comes. And then we're gonna swippy swap the fingers, extend that left arm out at a T, and then you're gonna extend that right leg long on the mat for this one. Then cross the body just a little bit, just until you feel that big old left hip stretch. Your IT band, good for butt tendonitis, for those wondering. If you'd like a little bit more, keep moving that left leg over to the right body or to the right side for a big old twister. All right. Slowly unwind, bring that left leg back up towards the ceiling. I like to keep my arms back out at a T, roll into that right ankle, point and flex, and then flex those toes back towards the nose, take that heel towards the ceiling, and then slowly lower that left leg all the way down to the ground. So slow. Readjust, feel the support of your mat for just one moment. All right. Let's bring the soles of the feet to the mat again, and then we're gonna take the palms to the ground, draw those shoulder blades under, and we're gonna lift up into a bridge pose for a couple of breaths. And so you decide how far you go in your bridge pose, how you move your arms or anything else. Or you can just press into the feet when you're ready and lift that bottom towards the ceiling, pressing into the pelvis, maybe squeezing those bum cheeks. Try to keep those knees moving in towards each other rather than outwards. That will help a little bit with any knee stuff. If you want to rock your shoulder blades under and interlace the fingers behind your back, you're more than welcome to do that too. If you are completely over the bridge pose, just move your bottom back down to the ground. Totally cool. Just a few more breaths until that stress in the thighs and in the bum cheeks is too much. If you have any binds, slowly let go, and then slowly lower your bottom to the ground. This time we're gonna draw our knees into our chest and give ourselves a big ol' squeeze. Rock a little left and rock a little right. And then same as we did in the beginning, we're gonna interlace over that right knee and extend that left leg long on the mat. Maybe draw those toes back towards the nose, and then feel the compression between your belly and your thigh. As you breathe in, feel your belly rise to the thigh, and as you breathe out, feel that belly fall away from the thigh. If you'd like to take that knee more towards the underarm and that right hip crease, feel free to do so. And then we're gonna bring that right knee back to neutral, extend that right arm out at a T or a Y, and then cross that body for a big old twist. Maybe readjusting the shoulders, and generally just breathing. Remember that if you have gone deep into a twist and that no longer works for your body, feel free to back out. Only you know what's best for you. When you're ready, slowly unwind. Bring that right knee, left knee back, bring the knees back into the chest, just both of them. It's totally fine.
Well, nice.
Give yourself a rock a little left and right. See if you can get yourself a back massage.
It sure is.
And then we're going to interlace over the left knee and extend that right leg long on the mat.
Things you say.
Gently draw those toes back to your nose, a little flex in the foot.
Why?
And then feel that belly rise towards the thigh. Feel the belly fall away from the thigh.
But it seemed as though the first time I saw
Feel the
you,
compression.
something happened to me inside.
Maybe take that left knee closer towards the left underarm. Bring that left knee back to center. Extend the left arm out at a T or a Y, and then cross that body in a big old twist. And then again, just stay present. Just exist here for another couple of minutes with all of our yoga friends forever. Let go of the stress, let go of the thoughts. And don't be frustrated that they come up, because remember, that's what we've evolved to do. That consciousness. Slowly unwind, bring everything back to neutral. Knees into the chest. We have one last thing. We're going to extend those feet up towards the ceiling, draw those toes back towards the nose, and we're just going to hang out in waterfall for just a moment. Allow the blood flow to reverse. You can start to feel a change in the energy, a change in your legs here just shortly. If this waterfall is completely fine, feel free to stay here. If you'd like to lift the bum up, to place your hands underneath for a little extra balance, feel free to do so. Or if you're interested in a shoulder stand, feel free to take that now. But just know that the difference between waterfall and shoulder stand, there may be some muscle skill in there, but you're achieving the same goal by lifting your legs into the air. That's all that really matters. So no worries about what your skill set is. Maybe you can start to feel the blood flow just slightly different, a change in temperature. Excellent. And if there's anything else that you'd like to do before we head into our final Shavasana, now's the time to do it. If you're done and you don't need any other movements, just gently take those legs down and then extend them out in front. Extend them out on the mat for your final Shavasana. If you know where you're going and how to get there, head there now. If I could help, you can take it, leave it, change it, but maybe take those feet about mat distance. Take up a little bit of space today. Heels in, toes out. Tuck those shoulder blades underneath the back. Yes, exactly. And then if you feel as though you need a little bit of receiving today, place those palms up towards the ceiling. If you need to feel a little bit grounded today, maybe take those palms down towards the ground to help ground any of those nervous energies or anything else that you got going on. And then allow yourself to drift off. Feel the breath at first. Feel the belly rise, giant like a balloon, and then feel it fall flat like a pancake. Notice what that feels like, and then just let it go. Allow yourself to drift off into La La Land for the next couple of minutes, and I'll keep track of the time for us. Without moving, slowly just bring some awareness back into the body. Remember where you are and who you are, and maybe even a little bit about why you are.
I can stay here for a while in this heat.
Bring a little movement into the fingers and into the toes. Feel the belly rise and fall again. Turn the head to the left and to the right. And then when you're ready, draw those arms overhead, reaching long from fingertip to toe tip. And then draw those knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Let's raise the right arm overhead and roll over to the right side. And then we'll take one moment here in this final private place to find the gratitude that works best in your mind, body, and soul. A little gratitude for the time and the space and the place we had to practice together, both by you guys giving up your time, ASU donating their space, and us just generally doing the work. When you're ready, use the strength of your arms to press your torso back up to neutral, and you'll find yourself in a seat similar to where we started. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, please just gaze down towards the ground. Find whatever yoga pose works best in your hands, on knees, or at heart. And then I will take this time to express my sincerest gratitude for you guys coming out and taking care of yourselves, probably yet again. Because we can't and we don't have the capacity to take care of our friends and our family and our community without taking care of ourselves first. And so this right here is that preventative maintenance. This is the work that needs to be done. I'm grateful for you guys. Namaste. Excellent. Excellent work, everybody, here in the studio at Santan Ford Club, LOL. And I'm sure that everybody at home had a great time, too. I'm super friendly. If there's anything at all that I can do to support you guys in your practice, please feel free to come up and say hi. I can help. Bye, guys.